Welcome to Diamonds Mountain video series, How to Do Retreat at Home. Today, the topic of video 6 is how you craft your own retreat schedule. And you craft your own. We can give you tips how to do it, but you decide what's in the schedule, how long you meditate, when you meditate, how it fits your personal needs. In the last video, we talked about food, what to eat, what not to eat, how much to eat, and how it affects your body and your meditation. Welcome, Lobsang Gelse and Venerable Sunam. So what are we talking today? We talk about schedule. First, we talk about which different components each day in retreat has, like meditation, yoga, and so on. Then we are talking how to go into retreat, what is the most deep retreat days, and how to ease out of retreat, because every retreat has the form of a barley crane. You go in very slowly, then there is a deep retreat, and then you already go out. So each part has a third, and we will explain it. And then we give you a few retreat example schedules, which you can use as a template and then adjust to your needs. We will talk about the retreat schedule when you do retreat 24 hours a day. You don't see anybody and you are in silence. Then we are talking about the retreat schedule where you are doing retreat all the day, but you spend 2 or 3 hours with your family. And then we are talking about the retreat schedule where you are doing retreat 3 or 4 hours per day. You can also call it extended practice, and where you spend the rest of the day working or spending with your family. Lobsang Gelse, would you like to start with what are the elements of each retreat day?
So this is a list that Sunam and I put together about what are the components or what are the things that comprise a retreat? Like how do you schedule around certain things? So of course, one of the main ones is meditation. What are you going to meditate on? Maybe you already have a practice and you already have a meditation that you're doing. We have meditation in our lineage that we suggest people can do, but you may not be part of this lineage. So think about what meditation you really want to focus on or what series of meditations. We also suggest that in the evening, when you're done with your day, you do what we call a coffee meditation. And you think about all the things that happened during the day, and especially all the positive things that you've done during the day. And in retreat, you know, you're not actively involved with other people. So it's all about the positive things that are happening in your mind and in your heart. And you think about them and you think about how they're going to help the world, how you're going to be a better person when you get out of your retreat, and how you're going to relate to the world in a different way and really rejoice in that. So a coffee meditation or gratitude meditation, we call it coffee meditation because it's kind of like relaxing on the couch with a cup of coffee or cocoa or tea and just rejoicing in the good things that you've done during the day and dedicating that to a higher purpose. So that's a meditation that we talk about for, especially for the end of the day, because it sets up a really nice state of mind before you go to sleep. And those seeds get really watered sweetly in your subconscious while you're sleeping. Then another component of retreat can be study. You can have a study retreat. Say you're studying a course. In this case, you know, we're talking about a spiritual course. For our lineage, we would recommend an ACI course, Asian Classics Institute course. You can work on that during your retreat.
But really, the upcoming Lamrim?
The upcoming Lamrim retreat, which we will give you the URL to be able to access that. But really, it could be any kind of study. Last time I did a study retreat was studying about how to meditate and really focusing on that. Mm-hmm. Then there, you also want to make sure you have some physical component. You want to be able to do Tai Chi or yoga, or some people skipping rope, or some type of exercise to keep your body fit because you're sitting for a long time, to keep all of your inner organs working, to keep your blood flowing, to keep your breath flowing.
My blood flows best by dancing.
Dancing, absolutely. Dancing, but do some type of physical exercise. Maybe it's, oh, what's that one called? Zumba. Maybe you need to do Zumba during retreat to get that energy up again, because it gets very quiet. So then you need a balance, right? Go for walks. You can also add walks in. Take time to relax. Take time to enjoy the space. Take time to, especially in the springtime, to enjoy the spring and all of the new growth that's going on outside. You also may have a practice that involves mantra, so that you can integrate that into your retreat schedule as well. Mantra recitation. Both Sunam and I find that when we go for walks, it's a really nice time to recite mantras, and going for walks and seeing the blue sky, it really helps to open and expand us, because we can get very closed in when we're just in our heads, right?
How do I do walks when I'm living in a city? I'm doing a retreat at home. Okay, in the moment there are not many people outside, but how do I handle that when there are people on the street or in the park or wherever I'm walking?
Well, it's a really good question. I think, right now with the situation that it is, and we're supposed to keep 2 meters, 6 feet apart, that's very helpful for the kind of walk that we need to do. So what we suggest is something called noble silence, where you don't make eye contact with anybody and you don't speak with anybody. You are still in your own little bubble. When you walk and you're reciting your mantras, or walking in the park, walking on the street, walking around your bedroom, walking. And so we call this noble silence, just not making contact. And why is that? Because every time we make contact with someone, it puts new information in. And we look at somebody, oh, I like the way that person looks. Oh, I don't like the way. And so then this whole dialogue comes that you don't really need, right? It's not helpful to your meditation. So mantra and walking, eating healthily, which we talked about in the last video. So if you didn't get a chance to listen to that, go on back to the last video. And of course, getting really good sleep. So again, let me go over the components. You need to have a meditation object, because if you're doing a meditation retreat. You need to have a study course if you're doing studies. And then you can add mantra in, get your exercise, go for walks as well as getting some other exercise. Relax and have fun, right? Have fun and enjoy it. Have good meals, simple meals, and sleep well.
And a lot of naps. That's what I do in retreat. I love my afternoon naps.
I liked my morning naps because I would get up so early. So now Sunam's going to talk about how you go into retreat, how you are in the middle of the retreat, and how you come out of the retreat.
First, going into retreat, when you start your retreat, we recommend that you start in the late afternoon, that you really set a specific hour and a specific date when you start your retreat. That normally also means that you, at that point, you start to keep silence. And the first days, and that you see that on our schedule, that there is always an option if you are meditating or studying or doing your mantras or relax. So when you see the parts with the relax, these are the hours, especially in the first third of the days, where you really relax and don't practice. And then when you reach your middle third of the retreat, during these times, you are also practicing. But if you feel exhausted, if you cannot concentrate anymore, always, always feel free to skip a session. Or how I did it all the time, if it was 11 a.m. and there was meditation and I had the feeling, oh, I don't feel like meditation, I just sat on the cushion for 5 or 10 minutes and then I got up and relaxed the rest of the time. So you always have the freedom. Retreat should be fun and should be easy. And maybe also a thought you should have before each session is, how can I make this session joyful?
So were there times when you didn't want to meditate and you sat down and you ended up having a joyful meditation?
Yeah, sure. And that's why I really recommend to turn off, I call it the inner no. Just if it's 11 and there is meditation on the schedule, I sit on the cushion and I think, how can I make it joyful? And most of the time I ended up doing a much longer meditation than otherwise. But the most important thing is that you take the freedom that if it's not working, if you cannot concentrate, just get up and relax or do something you like. So you're easing in, and then there's the middle third where you really try to keep every session. And then at the last third, you are easing out, where you also start to relax, where it is mentioned on the schedule that you have the option to relax. For example, if you do a 10 days retreat, then really 3 days ease in, skip a few sessions. The middle 3 days, try to stick to every session as long as it is joyful and easy for you. And then the last 3 days, ease out and skip every day 1 or 2 sessions again. So that's the barley grain. And as said, start your retreat in the late afternoon or in the evening, set up your altar, do your first session. And also in the schedule, we have scheduled 3 meditations for each type of retreat. So it also includes a gratitude. That's very easy. Just sit and meditate about gratitude, about all the person in your life you are grateful for. And the last one is the coffee meditation. And the one in the morning is up to you. What's your practice? Meditate on this. And all the other sessions give you the option, as you can see, depending on which type of retreat you have chosen, if you meditate, if you study, or if you do your mantras. And we also talked about the combination that you can do a combined meditation and study and or mantra retreat. So you have 3 sessions maybe every day where you do on one meditation, the 4th meditation, then on one you study and the other one you do mantra. So please feel free to mix and combine to your needs. Then we have a second schedule, which is for the people who are doing retreat with your family and you want to spend time with your family. So we would recommend that you really spend 1 block during the day with your family between 2 and 3 hours, and maybe you arrange it around a meal time, maybe during lunchtime, maybe during dinner time, or maybe breakfast is the main family event in your family. Then spend these 2 or 3 hours with your family and then go back into retreat. We wouldn't recommend to go in and out of retreat several times per day. Really try to do your retreat, go out for 2-3 hours to your family, and then go back into retreat. I also heard from a 3-year retreater who did retreat with family that they spent the time with the family but kept silence during this day. And she told me it was so beautiful to have walks with her partner and not talking, for example. So her partner talked, but she was not talking. So think about what could be the option you spend the time with your family. And then we have a third example you can see here, which you practice in the morning for 3 hours. Then you go to work or you spend all your day with your family and then practice a little bit before you go to bed. So these are the 3 templates we want to give you. Check them out and make your own schedule regarding what are the components, what are the times, and how many time you want to spend out of retreat with your family or with work. Retreat is about figuring out what works best for you. When is the best time that you get up and meditate? I'm an early bird. I'm happy to get up at 5 and do my first meditation session before the sun rises. That's for me the most beautiful day of the time. Other people love the time when it is nighttime. So just vary what is your biorhythm and adjust to it. Do you have any recommendations to how you adjust the schedule to your rhythm?
Well, one of the things I was going to say is, we've talked about doing meditation, we've talked about doing study, we've talked about doing mantra and mixing it all up. I would also recommend not to make your retreat too busy. That you can sometimes have too many things going on so that none of them really get your attention, which they deserve and which you deserve, right? So not to mix it up too much. Decide on maybe 2 elements of it or 3, but don't like try and make yourself busy in retreat.
I remember one recommendation I got, only like when you are doing a study retreat, don't take 5 courses into your retreat, only take 1 course, only take 1 prayer book. Depending on what you are doing, it's also about being content, and I think that helps what Venerable Gyaltsen said, not being too busy.
You mean content?
Content-wise as well.
Content-wise as well.
Yeah, so for me that helped a lot, not being too busy and having the feeling, oh, I need to finish how many, whatever. Be realistic how much you can study, be realistic how much you can meditate. If your concentration is exhausted after 15 minutes, get up, take a break. That's one of the most important lessons I learned in retreat.
I can say that my teacher constantly said, relax, relax, enjoy, have fun.
Yeah.
Many of us were like, we have to accomplish something. And that's a sure way to create stress in your life and in your retreat.
Yeah. So now you are equipped to start your retreat, and I assume you have a lot of questions. Please post your questions in the comments or send us an email to personalretreat@diamondmountain.org. So then we can make a video about and answer all the questions you have. And we have 2 more topics on our list. The first one is Lung, how you stay balanced energy-wise in retreat, that you don't get the energies exploding. And the second one is how to deal with noise during retreat, which is an important topic, especially when you do retreat at home with your family. Also, if you do retreat in a city, wherever you are at home, there is noise around you. Only a few people have the fortune to live in a very quiet place where they don't have noise. And even then, the birds are singing at the wrong time.
Well, I think that pretty much covers our little session, our video session here on how to create a schedule. We've given you 3 different templates. Play with them, work with them, and see which one might work for you. Also, another recommendation is if it's not working for you in the first couple of days, switch it around, change it. Again, this retreat is about you. It's not about sticking to a specific schedule. It's about you creating something that will work for you. And I also want to say all of our love to everybody. We know this is a difficult time. We're trying to give you something alternative to do. Many of you are under stress and could even be lonely. I don't know, So we're trying to reach out to as many people as we can to give you an option for how you can spend this time at home and help the world.
Yes, thank you. And our hearts are with you.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that, and this will change our world. Thank you so much. See you soon.
Thank you, and see you in the next video. Bye-bye.